All that is necessary at this internet location for it to be used by Level Healthware in this fashion is that that location has what is known as FTP server. FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol, and it is simply an aspect of the internet that permits files to be accessed and retrieved and sent back out. Oh, if you already have FTP service, then that will do fine to use for your Level Healthware product. If you don't, you can acquire simple FTP service. However, if you don't want to do either of those, by far the easiest way to acquire FTP service for use with your Level product is to acquire a web hosting website, because with a web hosting website, FTP service comes. The web pages that come with that web hosting website are not used by Level in the slightest. You can use them for whatever other purpose that you care to, or not use them at all. Level Healthware makes use of the FTP aspect of that website to place your data set there at the close of a session and to retrieve it back at the beginning of a next session from your multiple computers as well as the computers of your diabetes caregiver. So now let's investigate in detail how you would go about setting up such a FTP service website for yourself. First, there are numerous FTP websites that the company Level Healthware has procured to go about its business. And you are invited to make use of these in your exploratory weeks as you familiarize yourself with internet data storage and get used to just how to use it. At the end of several weeks, then you should get your own location, because the use of these company websites is strictly for familiarization by yourself, and every once in a while then those files will have to be removed to make room for new users that also want to familiarize themselves. So please make use of our company websites as you get started and find out how to do things, but also plan on switching to your own website at some certain point. Your diabetes caregiver may have procured such an FTP web hosting website already, and these sites can service up to 200 patients. So all you have to do is get from your diabetes caregiver the location, account name, and password for that FTP location, and you do not need to acquire one for yourself. This is certainly the much more efficient way for it to be done. But for today, if you're going to go about acquiring a web hosting website for yourself, then you will acquire it from an FTP vendor. So let's find out how you can find such a vendor for yourself. First, there are three that I would recommend myself. The first one is the one that we use at Level Healthware. It is www.smallbusiness.yahoo.com. I've been using this particular vendor for 5 or 6 years now, never had the slightest trouble, and they're very reliable and very good at what they're doing. One of the knocks on them is that they tend to be a little bit pricey compared to some of the others, but I have found that for myself to be well worth the price. Some of the other ones are out there that I will also show you in detail how to use today, or one that is known as www.fatcow.com. And another one is www.ipage.com. The procedure for setting up your connection to your FTP website is almost the same no matter which vendor that you choose. There are slight differences, but nothing of any major importance. And we will lead ourselves today in detail through these three examples. Actually, there's only two, because Fat Cow and iPage are sister companies, and their procedures are just the same. So the first one that I will investigate is smallbusiness.yahoo.com and show you how to do that, and then also show you how to do Fat Cow iPage setup. So you might want to write these down, but you don't really need to, because in general, just in Google, you can type in, and I'll do it right now, web hosting, and you will get the top 10 web hosting services that you can choose from. So let's see what that might look like. Here what we have is the top 10, and they're listed as iPage as number 1. Their monthly rate at the moment is $2.95, which is extremely good. And I think they also have no setup fee. They're getting 5 stars. And GoDaddy has been around for some time, also gets very good ratings. Now, small businesses' prices tend to be about twice these, so if you're certainly looking for low cost, any one of these. If you want to go to another listing of the top 10, then we'll just go to number 2 here. And you see that pretty much the same ones are still in there. And you see that in this list, iPage and Fat Cow are sharing number 1. And GoDaddy is in here someplace and Just Host. A small business doesn't tend to make this top 10 list. I probably think that's because their price might be a little high, although it's not any higher than GoDaddy. So I don't really know why small businesses from Yahoo doesn't make this top 10 list. It certainly makes my top 10 list. After you choose it, then you go about acquiring from this vendor your web hosting website that has FTP service. So what I'm going to do now is lead ourselves through how you would do such an item. We'll type in www.small. We will go there, and this is their entry page. And get a website today. Plans start at just $9.94. So get started. We go there and get started. Now, notice their setup fee is $25, and they're around $10 a month. But if we go to one more screen, we get some good news, and that is that they have a promo on at the moment, and they're waiving the setup fee, and their monthly charge is somewhat reduced. So there's no setup fee at the moment, and for the 12 months it's $7.46, which is down a little bit from usual. So if we want to continue, the first thing that you get to do, and no matter which vendor that you choose, is to select your own website name. Now, you could choose a name such as My Diabetes Data, since you're procuring this website specifically to store your diabetes data. However, since Level Healthware does not make any use of the web pages whatsoever, you might think that what you might actually want to use those web pages for, since the FTP aspect of the website is invisible and behind the scenes, it's never seen on the web pages themselves. So you might want to use those web pages for something else. So for example, you might name your website mykidspaulandjoan.com. So a small business will search and see if anyone has ever decided to use that before, and they haven't. So you can proceed with your website now being named, so that when you log in to use this website, this is the name that you would use, and when you use the FTP aspect of it, this is also the name that you would use. So let's continue with the sign-up process. So they are asking you if you want to use some other things like Norton, private domain registration. This will happen no matter which vendor you choose to contract with. They will have all sorts of extra plans that they will give you the choice of using. And in fact, you have to uncheck some of them if you don't want to use them. Now, it seems that they have us signed up for 12 months, and there's no setup fee at the moment, which is good news. We put them at a promo time. They waived the setup fee and waived 25% for the first 3 months. So this is indeed a one-year sign-up. I'm not sure what their cancellation terms are. Those would have to be investigated. So you can continue at this point. Now, you now have to sign in with your ordinary Yahoo ID and password, which you use for your Yahoo email or whatever other Yahoo services that we use, such as travel. So if you already have a Yahoo ID, you simply sign in with it. It is your Yahoo ID and password that you will use to manage this website. If you don't have one, then it's time now for you to procure one by signing up with Yahoo to have an account. Once you get your account signed in, then you can go to your credit card, give them the details, and then you are the owner of your website. Now that we have created a web hosting website, we're going to break that website into two pieces. The first piece will be the normal service of a website to hold web pages, photos, files, and any other activity that's associated with the website. You, as the owner of this website, will handle all of this activity by simply signing in to your vendor's homepage and going in and using the tools that are provided for you to build a website. The other aspect of this website is going to be the FTP activity, where it will hold diabetes data. We want to separate these two aspects one from the other. To do this, we will create a directory that will be solely dedicated to holding diabetes data. Then we will create a user account that will have access to only that directory. So let's go about doing this for the website that we have created with Small Business Yahoo. What we're going to do now is to go into our website, whether it was created with Yahoo Small Business or Fat Cow or any other vendor, and we're going to create a directory named Diabetes Directory. The purpose of this directory will be to hold diabetes data, whether it's for a single user or whether if you're a diabetes caregiver for some large number of your patients. All of your diabetes data will be kept in this directory and nowhere else on the website. We're next going to create a new user account, which will be named Diabetes Account. And we will assign a password solely for the use of this account. And the password that we will give it is 100% target zone. And then we will direct this account so that it has access to this directory and only to this directory in the entire website. This account cannot see or access any other aspect of the website except this sole directory in which diabetes data will be kept. Now we want to do these modifications to the website that you have for yourself with Yahoo Small Business or Fat Cow or with some other vendor. To illustrate how it's done, I'm going to illustrate it on one of the company websites, www.levelfordiabetes.com. First, if you want to view your website, you, as anyone else, would simply type in its URL into the URL box, and it would be done in the usual fashion. levelfordiabetes.com. And this is the website that we're going to use to illustrate how we're going to set it up to hold diabetes data. This is what the website looks like. But if we want to modify this website as the owner of this website, we do not go to the website itself. We go to our vendor's homepage, which in this case is www.smallbusinessyahoo.com, and we sign in. So we go to Small Business homepage, and at this point we sign in. We sign in with our ordinary Yahoo ID and password. After we are signed in to Small Business Yahoo, we want to access our account. So we click on Access Your Account. And up will come your accounts. And if you have more than one account, you make sure that you find the one that you want to be working on at the moment. And the one that I want to be working on for the moment is levelfordiabetes.com. It is the one right here. So at this point, we go to our control panel. The control panel is where you make modifications to your website. And each one of your vendors, no matter which one that you select, will have a control panel. So we go to the control panel to make changes. At the control panel, with Yahoo Small Business, we next click on Manage to indicate that we want to manage our website. The next thing that we're going to do is to add a new directory. The directory is going to be titled Diabetes Directory. When we add directories to our website, we do it with the File Manager. So we click on File Manager. Here we make the choice to create a subdirectory. And we type in the name that we want for our subdirectory, in this case, Diabetes Directory. And it has successfully created the directory. It's called Diabetes Directory, and it is sitting right there. Now we return to Manage. And what we now do is create a user account named Diabetes Account that has access to this directory that we've just created, and only to this directory. In this Yahoo Small Business Control Panel, we create a new user account under Password Manager, which is described as give others FTP and password access to your website. So we go to Password Manager. And we type in the name for our new account, which we have decided will be Diabetes Account. Now the password that we have agreed will be for this account is 100% target zone. And we type confirm. And we add this new account. This account has been successfully added. And here it is, Diabetes Account. And now it does not yet have FTP access. It only is an account that we've added to the website. So now we click on Enable FTP Access. FTP is now, access is now enabled for this account, and by default, it is enabled for the entire site. So we want to restrict it to only point to the directory, Diabetes Directory, not to the entire site. So we choose the access point. And the directory that we want to point it to is Diabetes Directory, so we choose that directory. And now indeed, this account, Diabetes Account, with the password 100% target zone, can only access the Diabetes Directory, and it cannot access any other aspect of the website, which was our goal. So this is how we add a directory to a small business website, and how we create a new user account that can only see that directory and restrict it from seeing anything else in the website. So we separate the website into two aspects. One, the normal creation of a website, which you will do by signing into the vendor page and adding photos and pages, as you would with any other website. And two, it's used as a repository for diabetes data, in which case it would be signed on with the account Diabetes Account and the password 100% target zone. As a second example, let's illustrate how you would acquire a web hosting website with another vendor. For example, www.fatcow.com. So the first thing that we would do is to go to their home page. So we go to www.fatcow.com. And at page, we indicate that we want to get a website. So we go to Get Started. Sign up now. But we have to be careful with this vendor because there are many extras that they will throw into your contract, and sometimes they are pre-checked and you have to be careful to uncheck them in that case. The first thing that they ask us to do is to choose a name for a website. You can choose any name that you want because you're not going to use the website pages to hold diabetes data, so you're free to put anything on them that you want, pictures of your family or any other aspect that you want to use the website for. So you can choose the name to reflect perhaps the activity that you're going to actually put on the web pages. So I'm just going to make up a name. Your web pages, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the name for your website, and we will give it .com. And as usual, the vendor checks whether anyone else is already using this particular name, and if we get an all clear, as we just did, it's now the established name of your account, will be the name of your web page, and now it asks you for personal information, your name, it asks you for your credit card number, and then it will ask you for other aspects that you might want to add to your contract. And as warned before, some of these are pre-checked, so you want to be careful to uncheck it. Then you conclude the deal with Fat Cow, and you have now contracted to have their web hosting website for some amount of time. Now their rates tend to be very attractive. They're about 50% of Yahoo Small Business, and their service, to my knowledge, is quite adequate also. What they will do when you conclude the deal is they will email to the email address that you have provided the name that they have assigned to your the account name. In other words, your Fat Cow ID that you sign in with, that they have assigned to you, and a temporary password that they have also assigned to you. They will email these to you, and once you have them, then you can come back to Fat Cow's homepage and actually sign in as a customer, as an owner of a website. Now that you have retrieved your Fat Cow account ID that they have assigned to you, and the temporary password from your email that they sent you, you return to Fat Cow's entry page, and you enter now as a customer. And you want to go to your control panel after you have signed in. So they want you to sign in with the account ID that they emailed to you. Now I have an account set up with Fat Cow, and that's the one that I'm going to use to illustrate now the procedure for creating the diabetes directory and the diabetes account with Fat Cow. So what I'm going to do is to show you what we want to do here. We want to create a diabetes directory, and then we want to create an account, diabetes account, and we'll have access only to that directory, and we want to give it a password 100% target zone. So the account ID that I have been assigned by Fat Cow for myself is and the password being used is and next will come up the control panel. And in the control panel, let's remind ourselves that what we want to do here is to create a directory called Diabetes Directory. So where we go to do that, just as in Yahoo, is in File Manager. So in File Manager, we want to create our directory. So to create our new directory, we click on the Create Directory icon with Fat Cow, and we simply type in the name that we want to give it, which is Diabetes Directory. It's now been created, Diabetes Directory. What we now want to do is to return to the control panel. So we go back a screen to the control panel, and in the control panel we now want to create a new user account named Diabetes Account. With FatCal we create a new account under the icon FTP. To create a new account, we scroll down to the bottom, says create new FTP account. And the name that we want to give it is Diabetes Account. And the password is 100% target zone. Confirm password. Now, we want the home directory, the directory that it will go to whenever anyone signs on to this account, to be Diabetes Directory. Create the new user. The new user has been created. And the username, account name, is Diabetes Account. It will start and be restricted to the Diabetes Directory. So with FatCal, we have actually created our directory and our new user account, and now FatCal is all ready to use its website in both ways. One, their activity as the owner, in which you go to FatCal's homepage and you sign in with the account ID and password that they assigned to you, and then you can conduct any business that you want to in the website. Or if you want to use the website to deposit your diabetes data, then you sign on with the account Diabetes Account and with the password 100% target zone, and then you will be directed immediately to the Diabetes Directory, where you will create your folder to hold your diabetes data, and then you will go to that folder on subsequent times to change your data. So let's sign out. Log out.